What's going on, Marks? I am the other Steve, and I am, of course, here with the Human Wrestling Encyclopedia, Derek Jones, the only one that matters.
Derek Jones that matters.
Only one that matters. We are here in the historic Beckley Raleigh Convention Center. Did I get that right?
It's changed its name so many times. That is, it works. They know where we are now.
If you say Beckley Civic Center, people will know what you mean, right?
Yes, the Raleigh County Armory, the Beckley Convention Center, the Civic Center. So many different names for the same building. All the history that's been under this roof, though, people will know where we are.
Now, you have been conspicuously absent from the podcast for the last couple of months. We'd like to congratulate Derek on making another young worker.
That's right.
For the people. Oh, look what we got here. We got Matt Mullins.
Dropped in.
Matt Mullins with the job in. What's happening, handsome?
Congratulations.
Right, and this guy gave me the most awkward congratulatory welcome ever.
I sure did.
As he hugs me and looks at me and my wife, he says, "Congratulations on rubbing your bits together to making a beautiful human." And like anybody else, I probably would have been mad, but I couldn't be mad at him for it.
That is deconstructed what they did.
Yeah. They did it, y'all. They did it.
So, Matt, we were just talking about, and of course this is why we have Derek here as well, the importance of indie wrestling, getting to see tomorrow's superstar today. Like, between both of you all, can you all tell me a wrestler that you saw in an indie show, maybe even smaller than this, that went on to become like a huge star? Matt, have you seen anyone like that?
I saw Jay Lethal at the Brush Fork Armory in Bluefield, probably, I don't know, 2009, 2008.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was before he was a TNA. I don't know what years. My years are all mixed up.
Derek will know.
Those are my whiskey years. But I saw Jay Lethal before he was huge, and I knew that he was going to be a star, and I was glad to see him there. So yeah.
So even at the Bluefield Armory, is that what it was?
Brush Fork Armory.
Brush Fork Armory.
Yep. Yeah, man.
The historic downtown Brush Fork. Like, so when you saw him even then, you was like, oh, this is a guy I'm going to see on my TV.
Yeah, 100%. I knew he was going to be a big star, and that's before I knew he could do a killer impression.
Do the best impressions.
Yeah, do all the best impressions.
Now I know Derek Jones has a laundry list of current superstars and stars that he saw at indie wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess it depends on what you're going to define as indie wrestling. Do we go into Ring of Honor in their early days?
Ring of Honor's not in indie wrestling. I love them too much.
It's not now, but at one point it was. During
Fair enough.
the Summer of Punk, would that be indie wrestling then?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Okay, because I watched Samoa Joe and CM Punk at that time frame. So talking about, here at the Beckley Convention Center, Cole Carter's here from AEW. Mm-hmm. And I watched him in Charleston, West Virginia. In
I was
his
there
hometown.
with you.
You were there. We watched him. And your immediate reaction was, man, that's white meat babyface at its finest. And not long after, and it's crazy because we went to watch Danhausen.
Yeah.
We went to watch Danhausen before Danhausen got signed. So, again, another guy, Danhausen, was on that card. And it's, there's so much good out there, but you'll never find it if you don't go watch these shows.
Me and Matt are indie musicians for life. And we've had a couple of our friends who we've played indie shows for life that are now selling out Red Rocks.
Huge stars.
Huge stars, right? So if you are a wrestling fan and you just watch, quote unquote, the big promotions, you're missing out. You're not getting to see their whole stories. You see their stories as they're depicted in the major promotions. But if you go to these wonderful events like this, you're going to see them at the beginning of their story, and then you'll be even that much more connected with them. When Cole Carter showed up on AEW, I had to text Derek, of course. I was like, we saw him, right? Like, that's white meat babyface. He's like, yeah, that is. And then it was strange. Then he was Evil Sting.
Yeah.
He
was the second rendition of the imposter Sting,
I think, too, we're living in a time where there's a lot of wrestling fans that have turned into just podcast listeners, and I want to urge those people that are old school wrestling fans to still come and support your indie promotions, because like Gary Dameron's ASW and Stephen P. New doing this, it is so important that these guys are urged to keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, coming to shows like this makes them want to keep doing it. rather than play in the skating rink.
Yeah, and at this point, ASW, I'm such a mark for ASW. I've seen them for like, how long have they been in business? Is it 15 years?
I think 20.
It's more than 15 because I remember their 15th anniversary. They're coming up on 20 years now.
I mean, that's that doesn't happen a lot on the indie scene. I think it's a testament to what glamorous Gary has done. It's of course Stephen P. New, and for it to happen in West Virginia. Here's the thing about West Virginia: if you're watching out of state, I know you probably have not the greatest opinions on us around here, but we are one of the biggest wrestling states. So if there was ever one that would be able to sustain an indie promotion like ASW, it would be West Virginia.
Yeah. We are the only state in all 50 states that has WWE lottery tickets.
Yeah, we are.
That's right.
Because they said per capita wrestling, West Virginia has more wrestling fans, and I love that. I got to go tune guitars.
Okay. Because later on you're going to see footage of my man Matt. If I can get permission from your record label to record you playing later on.
Let me ask my manager. Yep, you're good.
Yes, I thought so. So when was your first ASW show, Derek?
Honestly, I don't know what my first ASW show was. I remember years and years ago going to one in Madison. I thought it was the wildest thing ever to be going to Madison, West Virginia for an ASW show. But it was awesome. And I'm telling you, I don't even remember who all was on the card. This had to be like 2013 time frame because I remember that Chance Prophet was the ASW heavyweight champion at the time. And he held that belt for a long time. 2 or 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, and I went to watch him because I was just completely enamored by him at another show that I went to in Princeton. I was like, I got to see this guy more.
Chance Prophet, this is a complete shoot story. Saw a picture of my ex-girlfriend on MySpace with a CM Punk shirt and tried to hook up with her. That's a complete joke. It
awesome.
happened. I was like, oh, my girlfriend must be hot that the ASW champion is trying to slide into those DMs. So let's talk about today, and I want to know who you are excited to see. Now, right now we're filming from the meet and greet. I mean, Scott Steiner's right over there. Johnny Morrison, who today, of course, is Johnny Bash. I think he should have been Johnny All-Star.
He should have been Johnny All-Star.
Johnny All-Star should have been. We've got the Major Brothers.
Yes.
Matt Cardona, of course, the king of the Indies. Chelsea Green's better half. We've got Brian Myers. We've got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is here. Like, we're in Beckley, West Virginia, and that's it. What's going on here? It's wonderful.
It's such, like, you can't get this type of melting pot of talent under one roof without a long trusted history. We talk about all these guys we want to see, and obviously we can see the big names of professionals anytime we want to. But so off here to our left, we have a tag team called the Heat Seekers. They've worked on the NWA before. Dude, they're heavy in this territory. They work for Gary all the time. I love tag team wrestling. If you listen to our show, watch our podcast, I love tag team wrestling, and those guys are old school tag team wrestling. I absolutely love it. There's a couple other indie guys here that I'm really excited to see, catch up with. Huff Manley's another one. Chance Riser here is actually right in front of us. I'm a big fan of Chance Riser. I can't say that I'm not, and not even just because of our personal relationship, but because of what he does in the ring, the personality he brings to independent wrestling. It's fantastic.
Now, he specifically got there's Brian Logan, former Smoky Mountain Wrestling star. It's just the kind of predicament we're in. We just see stars everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Chance Riser, of course, was supposed to be wrestling Pat Buck.
That's right.
But then something happened. Actually, something big happened, which is going to happen at what, 8 o'clock tonight?
8 o'clock tonight on Collision.
Okay,
Pat
so
Buck's got to be there.
This is June 17th, the first night of Collision. I'm worried about this, Derek. No one else in the podcast is, but I am. How many people are going to be on their phones at 8 o'clock at ringside watching Collision?
Hopefully nobody, and the best part about today's technology is you can record it. I watch more wrestling than probably anybody in this building, and I would take that to any one of them. And I'm going to watch it when I get home. I'm not worried about it. I've got it on record. Okay. I don't need to see it live. I'm going to stay off my phone for spoilers, and I'll watch it as soon as I get home.
We are going to be in a spoiler-free. But what I was saying is Chance Riser now has to wrestle. Do you know the guy that he's now wrestling?
Honestly, I don't. I know nothing about the guy.
Okay, I know he looks great. He looks like $1 million. I just saw him, very long hair. He has an early Lionheart vibe about him. Looks great.
That's accurate.
So we are now going to go be marks and get autographs, and we'll be back later.
'Cause now it is my time when I'm going right.
Call Stephen P. News.
Stephen P. New, we are actually in the same room. It only happens about twice a year.
That's right.
And we are, of course, at your brainchild. This is your baby. We are at the Bash in Beckley 3. Now, as a young man or a young boy growing up in Gilbert, I understand that you used to come see shows here
Yes.
at the Beckley Raleigh Convention Center. I got it right?
That's correct.
Okay. Tell us about shows that you saw here as a young man, and how it feels to now be one of the promoters at shows at such a historic building for wrestling.
As I frequently say when I'm on the phone with some high-profile wrestling superstar or Jim Cornette or something,
We're about to have a drop in.
Hey, how are y'all doing?
How are you, Miss Baby?
I'm well. How are y'all doing?
great.
Better now.
You can spot a camera from a mile away, baby
No,
doll.
I wanted to just say hi and thank you for having me at the Bash at Beckley, and this is amazing. The place is filling up. Fans are happy. This is a place to be.
The perfect 10 right here. Greatest ballet of all time.
That's it. Perfect 10. Nice to see
Yes.
y'all.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you, baby doll.
We live weird lives.
We do. I was just saying, as baby doll came up and got in the shop, just pinch me, just pinch me, because these are people that I grew up idolizing, watching, and starting. Gilbert's only about an hour and a half from here, so if it was ICW wrestling,
This is where it was.
this is where it was. Here, Oceana, Madison. But if my parents were coming to Beckley for the day to shop, drop me off at the Armory. And that's called free-range parenting for you all of a certain age. You drop your 11, 12-year-old kid off
and hope that
and
they come
hope
back.
that he's there when you come back to get him. And as a kid, you hope that the main event of Randy Savage versus Ronnie Garvin isn't going on when Mom says, listen, it's time to go home. But ICW here, Rick McCord, ICW Rookie of the Year, just saying, they ran it, I think, every other Thursday. And they try to get other towns. If you haven't seen mine and Steve's ICW video, go and watch that. But then somewhere in the mid to late 80s, Jim Crockett Promotions started running here.
Okay.
And so I've got ticket stubs somewhere of the Great American Bash era Jim Crockett Promotions running Beckley.
Well, speaking of that, me and you both grew up watching 605. Did you ever think Baby Doll would come into our interview and give us hugs?
I did not think, when she was either escorting Tully Blanchard or Dusty Rhodes stole her away for 30 days, that Baby Doll would be coming up and talking to the likes of me and you, Steve Barker.
She was our personal.
Yes.
She was our personal.
Yes.
And we were definitely watching the same shows at the same time. And I gotta say, from everyone else at the House of Kayfabe, we would like to finally publicly thank Stephen P. New for taking us to WrestleCade twice, for opening up the doors for us to roam freely at the Bash in Beckley. I mean, you are the man, Stephen P.
Well,
New.
I appreciate that. Not hardly, but there's a lot of work that goes into a show like this. I mean, when I tell you that it's about an 8 or 9 month proposition for Gary, Dustin, all of Gary's folks, who are there's too many to individually name, and I'd be afraid I'd leave someone out. But man, they work really hard, and they're behind the scenes right now, putting the cage together. They're behind the scenes right now, double checking the music. That just there's a lot of work that goes into this. This doesn't just magically happen one day. Kudos to Gary and his team for making this happen.
And what has now become an institution in the middle of June, everyone knows you're coming to Beckley. And this has to be, if not the biggest, one of the biggest independent shows in the whole year in the state of West Virginia.
I would say it's one of the biggest of the year in the nation. I'd challenge anybody. Last year we had 1,200. We pre-sold 780 this year. I'd challenge any other promoter to show that they have a bigger crowd than the one that Gary draws here and that we draw here for All-Star Wrestling's Bash in Beckley.
And that, my friends, is why ASW and the Bash in Beckley is so successful, is because Stephen P. New's an old school wrestling fan, and he knows what it's about. Selling tickets and putting butts in seats.
That's exactly right. You put the butts in seats, you give the people what they want, and, the good thing about a show like this is we don't have very many storylines going into it. Take the Triple Threat X Division Championship match tonight with Seth Martin, Huck Manley, and our X Division champion, Josh. They're just going to tear the house down. I mean, that's a three-way for the X Division, and that's going to be a great match.
Look, if you put Brian Myers and Johnny Morrison in a ring, I'm a simple man, I show up. As we hear Adam Harris, our other brother of House of Kayfabe, making an announcement.
Right. The best announcer in all of pro wrestling, I don't care who, Adam Harris is better than any of the rest of them.
He has the feel of an old school, not wanting to get himself over announcer that we grew up with. He's
Right.
He's Howard Finkel.
Right. I mean, he's just a total pro.
Yep. Total pro.
And we'd be remiss. Brian Resner is here in stereo only tonight.
Yeah.
Matt Mullins' sound equipment belonged to Brian Resner.
R.I.P. Munchies.
Right, R.I.P. Munchies. And so...
Why do I feel that you probably had a case or two come out of that place?
I never did. I never did. As a matter of fact, I knew Brian's partner, Davey McDormand, and Davey's son and my daughter were friends. So that kind of conflicted me out of any case, because I didn't want to see Davey at a basketball game at Hollywood Elementary. So we got Derek Jones, the only Derek Jones that matters here from the House of Kayfabe tonight. New father once again. And so we got Matt Mullins. One of the coolest things about this is Matt Mullins. My friend, House of Kayfabe resident musician like yourself. He's going to live play Heath to the ring tonight, baby.
It's going to be phenomenal. So I know that Stephen P. New has other shit he's got to go do, but before we go, now by the time you see this video, of course, the Bash will be finished. Can you tell us right now, are we going to have a Bash in Beckley 4 next year?
Absolutely. I think that with the sales so far, it indicates with the 780 pre-sold, and the walk-up, the crowd, the excitement. I also would be remiss if I did not mention 93.5 The Buzz, Southern Communications, 103 CIR, Lola and Rick Risers, Chance Risers, Shoot Parents, have put us over on the radio here in Southern West Virginia. They are great sponsors, great corporate partners to have with the Bash in Beckley. Man, it gets bigger and better every year. We'll be back in June of 2024 for number 4, baby.
Go ahead and get ready for that and make your reservations. I believe we've got a few hotels open here in Beckley.
That's right.
Come on and see us. Stephen P. New, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
back, K-Favors. I am Derek Jones, the only Derek Jones that matters, and I'm here with Nurse Micah. She just had one of the best mixed tag matches I've seen through ASW with Aaron West, correct?
Yes, correct.
Fantastic. So the biggest thing that what we're trying to develop here and talk to people about at this show more than anything else is the necessity for independent wrestling. So tell me a little bit about your background. What do you do? Where all of you worked? What are you doing for the independent wrestling world?
Well, I've been a little bit everywhere. I mostly stay in Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina. I'm actually a women's champion over in Kentucky for New South Pro Wrestling.
Okay. So I guess another question is, because we see a lot of gimmicks out in the world, but the nurse is not a gimmick. No, you're actually factually a nurse. So what? Are you a registered nurse? What are you?
Yes, I'm actually a registered nurse turned nursing professor. Yep.
That's a little bit intimidating. Okay, so we have Nurse Micah here. She is a shoot nurse. Like, that's the day job, the night job. I know that it's all over the place, and she spends her weekends abusing people so she can fix them up the next day.
That's right. Job security.
So, all right. So here's the big question: is Gary Damron, is he paying you extra to be medical staff on site?
He doesn't. Maybe I should, take him up on that, though. That's a good idea.
You need to work that in. You gotta work that in. All right. So when you started into professional wrestling, what was your motivation? What was your inspiration? Who brought you to the forefront of professional wrestling?
Brian Danielson is a huge inspiration of mine, but my uncle was actually a promoter in West Virginia, Big Bob McCoy. So he did the promotions, and he even was a wrestler for a little bit in the 80s and 90s. So I've always grew up around it. I was like, hey, I'll do the nursing thing, and then it just always was in the back of my mind, like, I'm still meant to do something else, and I always knew that was professional wrestling. So I called up Chance Profit one day, and now here I am. About a year ago, I called up Chance Profit, and I'm here at Bash today, so I'm very thankful.
So you've been training at the Power Slam Academy?
Yep.
Okay. So how long have you been wrestling for?
I have been wrestling since August. I've been training since April of last year.
Since April of last year, and you had your first match in August.
Yep, sure did.
You've already got gold around your waist. You're going you're going over here at the Bash at Beckley with Aaron West, and again, what was a great matchup.
Thank you.
Like you're going to the moon. Like, what's next for Nurse Micah?
I want a contract. That's my main goal. Like, I am hungry for it. I train twice a week. I pour everything I have into professional wrestling, and I'm just chasing the big one, I guess.
So if you were signed today from your match that you had, where would we see you? What night would you premiere?
Wednesday nights.
Yeah. She's going to Dynamite. She's going to AEW.
Yeah.
That is my love for professional wrestling. I am the alternative Mark in the House of Kayfabe. All these other guys give me such a hard time about it, but I am definitely the AEW Mark in the house. So
me too.
I respect that a lot. This guy over here, Stephen Barker, definitely gives me a hard time about it. But it is what it is. It's what we do. We love professional wrestling. We talk about it all the time. We make sure that everybody knows about it. And so in the House of Kayfabe, the biggest discussion we have, and I'm going to let you drop a little bit of information on us, what is your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
New Japan Pro Wrestling, women's champion.
Okay.
That's it.
So that's it. That's the pinnacle.
That's the pinnacle.
So if you're signed today, you're going to AEW, you're going to wrestle on Wednesday nights, all the way through Forbidden Door, and then she's going overseas.
That's it. Yep, that's the goal. That's my ideal timeline.
Fantastic. Nurse Micah, we appreciate your time. We love having all the wrestlers here. It's great to get out and see these people, because you never know where you're going to see them end up next week. If you start turning on AEW Dynamite and you see Nurse Micah, you know that she was here and she told you it was going to happen here first. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
follow the leader, it's sweet like gold. It smells like ether, ain't up, not beating, it's my turn. Time's the reason that this fire burns. I'm leaving all the past behind. Grabbed all the rings, but you take. I'm still
Welcome back, House of Kayfabe listeners, viewers, and all fans all over the world. I am Derek Jones. As they call me, the only Derek Jones that matters. If it's Stephen Barker, he's going to tell you I'm the human wrestling encyclopedia. I don't buy into any of that crap. I know very little about professional wrestling. Or maybe I don't. Who knows? But I'm here with someone that I've watched for quite a while now. I'm a huge fan of on the independent scene. He and I have talked once or twice before. I have beside me Huff Manley.
Thank you for having me, my friend. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited. We talk occasionally. Every time it's good. I see you at shows. I see you all the time, so I'm glad I was able to come on here with you.
Yeah, we talked a long time ago. I wanted to do a more formal setting with him. We do an indie spotlight show, and this is the guy that I wanted to bring in first. And if you follow the channel, you know I'm a big indie wrestling mark, so if I'm telling you this is the guy that I wanted to bring in first, it should tell you something about him. Not only does he seem like a fantastic human being, but man, his in-ring work is standalone. I absolutely love to watch him work. Open the show tonight
Yep.
in somewhat unfortunate circumstances. And if you would have been here, you would have seen it. One super kick turned the lights on tonight, guys. They turned on the lights with one super kick from Huff Manley. It was fantastic. I'm really hoping we can steal this footage from Gary and put it in. Put it into this clip just so everybody at home can see what we're talking about.
That was probably one of the greatest things I've ever done, is open the match with a super kick while the lights were out, and then the lights just come on.
The heavens opened up for Huff Manley's super kick.
Yeah.
That's how good it was.
It was like, I wish describing it without video doesn't do its justice. Like, the lights were sort of there, but, you know, we were opening the show. They were still figuring out the lights. I landed that super kick. It was a nasty super kick, mind you. Then the lights came on. I felt like I had superpowers, or maybe I do, and that was just a giveaway. So that was a good time.
It was great. So, and here's the thing about that super kick, guys. Square on the jaw, no thigh slap necessary. When you were here, you knew it happened. It was great. I loved it. So let's talk about independent wrestling for a minute, because that's one thing I like to bring up with everybody that I talk to right now. How important is independent wrestling to the business? I mean, you're doing it. How important is what you guys do day to day to the success of what we watch on television?
I mean, if you look what's on television now, I would say way over majority of people that's on television now came from the indies. You look at AEW, mostly everybody came there. Like, there's no, like, they have their homegrown talent, but they were still out doing small venues on the independents. WWE is the same way. Their tag team champions, the WWE tag team champions, came from the indies. If we don't have independent wrestling, we wouldn't have wrestling in general. Independent wrestling is super important because, like, I feel like for me, I don't just do wrestling for myself. I do it for, like, you can see there's 1,000 people here, maybe plus. I don't know. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see. But I would say there's a lot of people here. If independent wrestling wasn't big, we wouldn't have this. Independent wrestling is super important to me. I know it's super important to everybody. Wrestling just wouldn't exist without it.
I agree wholeheartedly, and that's why I'm a huge independent wrestling mark. And you know, the guys in the house kayfabe, they always give me a hard time, except for Steve New, obviously, you know, proud supporter and promoter, and you know, help puts on these shows for you guys. Financially, let's face it, Steve New ain't getting out there rolling around, but I'm looking forward to the day that, you know, we get some good Steve New bumps in the ring.
Yes.
I talk to him on a regular. He says no, but it's going to happen one day.
It's for sure going to happen.
You know, tonight we seen Gary Damron put a figure 4 on somebody. Like, it's bound to happen. Steve New's getting in there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like, there's so many people in that locker room that look up and respect Steve New. He's going to get in there soon.
He's got to.
He has to. Come on, Steve. You know you want to. You know you want to.
So how long? What's your tenure right now on the independents? How long have you been wrestling? And then how long have you been affiliated with ASW?
So I've been wrestling for 5 years now. November will make 6 since I've made my debut. So I've been with ASW for 5 years. Actually, this month makes 5 years.
Okay.
I've been wrestling for ASW. I haven't. So a little bit of trivia, a little bit of facts for the fans out there and for you as well. I am the only person in ASW currently that hasn't missed a show in 5 years. I have not missed one show. I have showed up with 2 broken ribs and still worked a Rumble match just so, you know, I love wrestling. I'm not going to ruin that streak. I'm 1 title away from being a Grand Slam champion, and that's the big boy. That's the ASW Heavyweight Championship that Matt Cardona currently holds. I mean, we'll see after this cage match tonight, which is going to be good. I mean, let's face it. But yeah, that's how long I've been wrestling. That's a little bit of trivia for you.
So you got a good tenure on the indies right now.
Yes.
And I know you've worked other places, not just here at ASW, but obviously this has been a standout for you. This has been a home for you. They've treated you very well, and you've done a lot of things in this company. Your title reign as the X Division champion, again, my following, one of my favorites. I really looked forward to you regaining that title tonight. You know, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. It's just the way the business works.
Yep.
So obviously you've been here. What would be the next step for Huff Manley? Like, where do you go from here?
Honestly, I don't think I'm going to quit until I get that X Division championship back. I mean, you saw tonight the finish of that match, how it went down. I had him right there. 1, 2, got kicked right in the face. It's a triple threat match. I can't be mad at that. I got outsmarted. I'm not going to say that I was cheated, everything like that. I just got outsmarted. Let's just say I went to the ASW offices and I demanded a few things because I'm not done with Josh Williams yet. Let me tell you about Josh Williams real quick. I mentored that kid for a while, right before he broke in, even whenever he first broke in. And then what does he do?
Knife right in the back.
Knife right in the back. Came after my title like that. I'm not going to stop till I get that back. If I don't get that back, I guess I'll have to move on to other things.
So we've got Huff Manley. I'm going to go ahead and say it. He's either the future or next ASW X Division champion, better yet, depending on circumstances of the night, a potential candidate for the next ASW heavyweight champion. He's that good in ring. He will be able to carry either belt with pride and with and with grace. The kid is just fantastic. I'm telling you, I'm gushing. I can't get enough of it. I don't mark out for a lot of people, guys. Like I've done this a lot. I've watched a lot of wrestling, but this guy,
it's all good, pal.
I love it. I love it. You know.
I'll tell you what we can do. Everybody watching at home, you included. How about? I don't care. How about we all message? We all create posts. We all tell everybody to use hashtag Give Huffy a Chance. Because what if the X Division title isn't enough?
What if it's
I
not?
could be the next ASW champion. I've been in ASW for 5 years. I've wrestled injured countless amount of times. I've never complained. I've always worked my butt off. I think it's about time as well. So if I don't get that X Division title back, I will move straight to the ASW Heavyweight Championship.
All right. So there you have it. There's a declaration of a man on a mission. So I want to step away from Huff Manley, the in-ring performer, for just a moment. I want to talk to Huff Manley, the person. We always like to ask this question because it's talked about in the House of Kayfabe a lot. What is your Mount Rushmore? What is your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
I can only pick 4.
You can only pick 4. I hate that.
It's just all of wrestling.
All
it doesn't matter
of
what
wrestling.
company.
I don't care what company. You can pick 4 guys that are out here tonight if you had to.
Oh man, I already know my number 1, Shawn Michaels. If you don't have Shawn Michaels in your Mount Rushmore, I don't know what I don't know anything about you. Shawn Michaels is the greatest professional wrestling athlete of all time. He's got it all. He's my number 1. If you watch me in the ring, you can tell I'm not Shawn Michaels Jr., but I definitely watch a lot of his tape.
A lot of nuances there, absolutely.
Oh man, see, me and my buddies play this game all the time, and my answers change all the time. So I'm gonna go with who I think in my head at the moment. So it may change down the road. To me, you have to have Stone Cold Steve Austin in there for the way he elevated the business, especially in a way towards pop culture. Hulk Hogan as well. And honestly, Ric Flair for everything he did outside of WWE, because he was in WCW, NWA, a lot of different companies, especially on the East and West Coast, Japan, everything. But if I had to pick right now, current, I'd say Kenny Omega. Okay. Kenny Omega, I love him. I would say AJ Styles.
AJ's on my Mount Rushmore all day long.
Yeah,
all day long.
AJ Styles. AJ, to me, AJ and Adam Cole are exactly like Shawn Michaels to me.
Okay.
Adam Cole's on the list as well. Adam Cole is someone that I would like, somebody that I look up to, that currently wrestles. He's somebody that I'd love to wrestle because I just look up to him. I don't know what else to say. Everybody knows Adam Cole, baby. That's 3, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Wait, I said Seth. Did I say Seth Rollins?
You didn't put Seth on there. You can put him on.
You know what? I'll put Seth Rollins on there.
That's a fair assessment.
Yes.
It's fair. It's fair. I like it.
I love Roman. I love his heel stuff. I love the Bloodline storyline. That's some of the best storylines in all of wrestling right now. I love it. But if we're talking about work rate, Seth Rollins has it in the bag over him.
Absolutely. All right, so last question we're kind of leading off with. If you were signed to a contract today, what night would we see you debut? What night of the week would you show up, and what show would it be on?
Any of them.
Is
that a normal answer?
No, that's not.
Is that a normal answer?
So far, everybody's been pretty adamant on where they were going.
Really? Honestly, I mean, the goal is to get a contract for me. Honestly, I always told myself if I didn't get a contract by 30, then I'd quit. I'm 27. I've been wrestling for 6 years in November. I don't see myself quitting by 30, so there's people that get signed at 35. There's people that get signed at 40. So it's like I can't quit. But I mean, I've been on AEW a few times. I've been there. I've got my promo pics over there for sale. I don't care if it's Monday night. I don't care if it's Tuesday night. I don't care if it's twice on Wednesday. I don't care if it's Thursday, Friday, currently Saturday with Collision. Just that debuts tonight.
Debuts tonight, that's right.
I haven't looked at the dirt sheets yet.
I'm avoiding.
Yeah, me too. I actually removed the dirt sheets from my phone, but that's a different story. I like to be surprised by things now. But honestly, if there's a place that wants me and it sounds good, the pay sounds okay. Not everything's about pay, but I'd like to be stable.
Sure.
I mean, if you want to wrestle full time, you have to try and be stable. Honestly, I'm good with anything. But honestly, I love AEW and WWE. Let's just get it.
Well, I would like to see you on Wednesday nights because
No,
I'm an
me too.
AEW mark. So,
Me too, yeah.
all right, guys, that's our time. This is Huff Manley. If you don't go watch independent wrestling, you'll not see diamonds in the rough like this guy here. And just to give him a little bit of a clip from one of the guys he just talked about, you want to know what it takes to make Huff Manley special? You ring the frickin' bell.
Yes.
We're out.